Okay, what we have here is a very basic value stream map. And again, I still contend it's going to flush out about 80% of your opportunities. You've got your processes for, remember, your borders, the beginning and the end of your value stream map. So we've got our suppliers and our customers. We've got our information flow will go up here. And when capturing information, you're looking at two information flows. You're looking at information that dictates production. That's the information from our customers or warehouse or whatever that tells us to produce or not to produce. Then we have the information flow that dictates production throughout the process itself. If you've heard of the term Kanban, okay, for every one of these inventories, a future map would do something like this. And I've actually seen this happen many times. When I first did a production line value stream map for a really large factory, this was very representative of the map that we had. We had lots of inventories tied to every process. We had, again, hours and days worth of inventory for all of them. And we were able to remove every one of them. So for every one of these, they went away. We flat out got rid of the inventories and we replaced them with supermarkets. So this is your supermarket icon. And it's meant to look like a box where you have open to the left. And for every supermarket, I'll explain it again here in a minute, you've got a pull arrow where you want to create a pull system to where, let me explain what a supermarket is. Supermarket just means that there's a maximum and minimum. An inventory has no max or min, and maybe they do, but by definition, it's just an inventory. An inventory is a bunch of supplies. Could be finished product, could be raw materials, but they're supplies. By definition in lean, a supermarket has a maximum and a minimum. So you cannot put more than the maximum in here. And you definitely want the minimum, so again, processes don't run out of those raw supplies or whatever they need. Okay. As I mentioned, for some of the factories and production lines I worked with, we were actually able to get rid of all the inventories and set up supermarkets. Supermarkets for raw materials, raw supplies, to where they had max and min, and we knew that it wasn't going to exceed that maximum, and we had pull signals. I'll give you an example of one. For one process, one component that went into a line, what they use for the Kanban. A Kanban just means a pull signal. So a Kanban could be a light that's flipped on, it could be a card that's pulled, it could be something on a board that you look at. For this little bit of genius, we had a component department that produced components that they put in tubs. They used to have to inventory these, and a lot of time went into scheduling and keeping the inventory good for the production line. What they did was they decided, well, let's use the tubs themselves as our Kanban. So they created some carts. They put, I think, like 15 tubs on each cart, and those became the Kanban. When the carts were empty, they turned on the equipment and filled them up. And I can't remember how much of a supply it was, just a few hours, but they had extra equipment, they were robust, it wasn't a bottleneck, so they were able to produce to demand. For this department, if a cart was empty, turn on the machine and make components. If the tubs on the cart were full, shut it down. It became a pull system. There was no longer a need for inventory. They went by the empty tubs. So what you want with your supermarket is a max and a min, and some type of a Kanban symbol or system to where there's pull that lets people know that they need to refill that supermarket. And again, nothing is put in there without a pull signal letting them know that, hey, we need to replenish this. That's all you're doing. You're replenishing it. So for our future state, that is what we want. For every problem that you come up with, you'll do something called a bomb. So we'll write an issue. We'll say we got lack of manpower. And now what I'm working on is actually our future state map. So future state For the future state map, all you're going to do is you're going to fill your map up with all the opportunities you see. I've heard these referred to as bombs, hence they'll draw them in kind of in a little explosion, or starbursts, or I've seen lean experts call them just jewels or opportunities. But fill this thing up, and again, what I actually recommend is pick a different color sticky note and put your bombs on here and put them up there. Have people just start working. Tell them, again, think of the 7 forms of waste. Think of the man, material, method, machine, management. All those issues. Just paste sticky notes all over this thing with those starbursts on them, with those bombs problems. When you're done then, what you can do is use something called nominal approach, which is basically you have people vote on which ones they want to go after first. Or, probably a smarter approach is think from a strategic. What are those bombs you can address right now? What's the low-hanging fruit? The old Nike deal, do it now. If you can address something immediately, do it. Then look at those ones that are going to give you the biggest bang for your buck. Which are those ones that, hey, if we address this, it's going to really move us forward. It's going to reduce our lead time, eliminate some inventory, reduce these problems with shrinkage, downtime, or changeovers. Those are the ones that you want to go after next. So we're going to take a methodic approach. We're going to use the value stream map to identify the problems. We'll list all those, categorize them, and then go after the ones that make the most sense. These would all then go on to your A3. So again, this is a tool for really determining your current condition and what you need to do to close the gap between your current condition and your future state, what you want to achieve. And when you get workers using this, and again, what I suggest, and I've mentioned in Hoshin, using kind of a catch-ball dialogue where you've got everybody that works in this area, or a good cross-section of them, helping determine the issues and how to move forward. You'll have buy-in. And for an employee to know that, we've been doing this for a few years, say, our value stream mapping, and our current state right now is much better than it was 6 months or a year ago. And it's so nice as an employee to know that, 6 months or a few years from today, it's going to be even better yet. What confidence does that give them in how they're going to spend their days? And just even the ability to earn a livelihood, that we're going to keep up with changes in technology and market demand. That gives you a pretty good outlook on your future. So that's a lot of what we're after. Again, value stream mapping, awesome tool. Take a basic approach. Again, there's a lot more detail you can get into. You can get into mixed models. What if we have different flows that are going to converge, things like that. But what you want to do is go after it with this very basic approach, then go deeper as you see the need. Again, you're panning for gold. You're not going to dig all willy-nilly. When you see an opportunity, that's when you want to dig deeper into it. If not, move on. I guarantee you, if you pick one product line, set your borders, identify the activities and how they're connected, you're going to come a long way in finding your opportunities. One of the last value stream apps that I did was with this large company was involved with looking at shipping for domestic and foreign. And we lined out all the activities, and we found for some of these activities, the processes created for how they do those activities were 16 years old. A lot's happened in the last 16 years. I wouldn't dream of having a computer that's 16 years old. And as you would guess, in information flow between them, when I mentioned that, starting with a customer, we want information to flow upstream as activities flow downstream, that didn't exist. There were a lot of broken connections to where you'd have product go to a certain area and just stop for days needlessly, and it's because, again, there was no information flow. There were disconnects. We want to view everything, again, as activities, connections, and flows. Once you have your activity is all set, again, are there good processes for dictating how we do those activities, and how are we connecting them? Are there pull signals going upstream as everything flows downstream? Again, I've done hundreds of these, and usually just sticking with this, Before we get into more detail work, we've flushed out many activities to where if we keep digging too deep, we might get overwhelmed because we're going to have more on our list than we can really deal with for right now. Typically, your value stream map, you want to look at it, say, for 6 months out for your future state. You don't want it way out there. You want to build that dynamic tension. So for most of the goals that you're going to set, you want to be able to see and draw kind of a finish line. So in the next 6 months, where are we going to be? You know, how far are we going to go? Once you have your value stream map up, this is a living document. When I was with Philips, we had an area that was kind of our war room. And for every production line, we had a value stream map up. And the teams would have their meetings around them. And they would constantly change, you know, based on what's going on at the time. And for those sticky notes that were bombs that were turned into actual projects, when those projects were done, they went into a different area. It's kind of a win list. So you might have a stack of sticky notes, and every one of them represents a finished project. So, you know, talk about something that makes you feel really good. You know, anytime we accomplish something in life, we get a shot of dopamine, which is something that lets us know we did a good job. You know, it's what kept our ancestors fishing and hunting. And for today, you know, anytime you cross off something on your to-do list, you get a shot of dopamine. So that is great. We want to have, you know, a path laid out for us where we know what we're going to do and then go after it. So hopefully this gave you a good understanding of value stream mapping. I know there's a lot of great videos out there, but what I wanted to do is give you a very minimalist, straightforward approach. 3 attributes we always want in our business are simplicity, directness, and engagement. This will help with all 3 of those. Again, simplicity. Remember, complexity leads to self-sabotage. You know, it leads to complacency. It leads to, you know, putting things off because we're just, you don't want to keep going where we're not certain what's the right path. Directness. Again, with this, we love it when people give us direct answers. We love when we have a direct path to people with information we need. We hate being sidestepped, red tape, bureaucracy. Shoot for directness in all you're doing. And engagement is your biggest red flag if it's not there. When employees disengage, you're not getting good feedback from customers and suppliers, there's an issue. We're social beings. We like talking. We like looking out for people to look out for us. If that communication is stopped and there's lack of engagement, big red flag, there's an issue. So hopefully this helped you. Again, I'll put more tools and information on my website, Black Belt Lean Thinking. Feel free to contact me. I love helping with this stuff. I've got, again, plenty of experience with it. So if you have questions, if you want more help, free, just contact me and I'll do my best to help you out. Try it. Don't get bogged down by detail up front. This should be a very simple process to get an easy value stream map in really an hour or 2. It shouldn't take days. Thank you. Bryan McWhorter, Black Belt Lean Thinking.